Welcome everybody to the Locks DFS MLB breakdown video for this Tuesday, June 4th, 15 game MLB slate. It's a big slate, lots of good options on the slate. Before we jump into it, I just wanted to remind you that our website is locksdfs.com. You can get our MLB month pass for $39.95 per month, and it comes with a rankings, analysis, and basically a grade on every player throughout every main slate, every position. We go position by position and break down our favorite options, whether they're cash plays, GVP plays, value plays, and we grade them out A, B, C, D. So that's what you get, as well as our top on the weekday slates. We'll do our top stacks, and I do a statistical look at the slate as well, which I'll get into after this video goes up. Also, be sure to comment and subscribe on this video, and we'll give away a free pass every Monday, a free season pass to someone who's been commenting and a subscriber. So that helps us out a ton, and we really appreciate the feedback we get from you guys, whether it be how you guys are playing the slate, what players you like, whatever it might be. We always like to hear from you guys, and we really appreciate that. Okay, with all of that said, let's go ahead and jump into the slate. So I'm going to talk about three pitchers in the slate, actually. I'm actually going to kind of I'm not exactly sure how I feel about these two. These two should be very owned, though. Noah Syndergaard and Madison Bumgarner. I think out of the two, I prefer Syndergaard if you're looking into this mid-range. These are the two I'm not going to talk about, though. I think you can get your analysis on these two elsewhere. I'm going to instead talk about two high-priced guys, Steven Strasburg and Blake Snell, as well as Max Fried in this low-price range. I wanted to give you guys someone that's a little bit cheaper today, and that you'll be able to fit a little bit more high-priced bats in. And I think Fried is the guy that I will be looking at in that range. So let's go ahead and start with Steven Strasburg, who's probably my favorite option on the slate. He's going to be facing a White Sox team with a now up to 3.3 team total. Strasburg's been Strasburg this year. I mean, he's been very good. We know that he gives up a decent amount he has a little bit of a potential to give up some hard hits here and there, where a little bit of a kind of a one-off power type of thing. But for the most part, he limits damage very well. And he gets a White Sox team that's striking out I believe the most over the last 2 weeks. I should have pulled up a FanGraphs tab with the teams on it, actually. I don't have one pulled up yet. Team that's striking out a lot versus righties this year. I believe over 27% against righties on the year, maybe even more than that if we're going to pull it up. At 26.4% versus righties on the year. And so it's a great strikeout matchup for him. White Sox were a lineup that has a lot of lefties, and which he does give up a little bit more tough contact to, but that's not too concerning for me. Not someone that I think is going to really implode, and Strasburg is just in a spot here. I do think the price is a little bit. I think it limits you a little bit on the slate, so I don't think he's a must. Like I said, I think these two 9.6, 9K guys make sense. That said, this lineup with so many strikeouts in it, if we're just going to pull up the Baseball Savant page real quick, I mean, pretty much talking about just pure run prevention and strikeout upside. I think Snell, which we're going to get to next, has a bit more strikeout upside, actually. Just because he has a higher swinging strike rate. Strasburg is around, I believe, like 12%. Nope, sorry, 14.6%. Way off on that as well. 14.6% swinging strike rate. So he's going to be a guy who will get you strikeouts. You know, you can depend on it to be a very low-scoring game for the White Sox. Next up is Blake Snell. I really like this lineup the Tigers ruled out for Snell. I think it really favors Snell. They got Cabrera back in there. He does have some power here and there, but he's still striking out 20%. If you just look at the strikeouts, especially the bottom of this lineup, which is what really stood out to me, the fact that they put Ronnie Rodriguez, Grayson Griner, Jacoby Jones all striking out over 30% at the bottom of this lineup. Snell's going to get all of them. Dixon has a little bit of power, but takes some really bad IBs, and with Snell's pitch mix, I don't see Brandon Dixon really doing a whole lot versus Snell. So really, I'm just worried about the top of this lineup, getting through the top, and of course you have Kristen Stewart, who doesn't really add a whole lot versus lefties. He is a lefty. They can add a little bit of power. They can add a little bit of contact. We saw Snell struggle a little bit in his last game, but I mean, he still had an insane swinging strike rate in that game. I mean, which, by the way, let's talk about Snell's swinging strike rate and how just insane it is. I mean, 19.1% swinging strike rate almost 1 out of every 5 pitches he's getting a swinging strike on. That's going to lend itself to so many strikeouts. Tigers are a team that's striking out basically the same amount as the White Sox this season, and over the last 2 weeks, over 27% over the last 2 weeks as well. Team that strikes out a ton, as you saw the lineup. I mean, there's 3 bats in there that strike out over 30%, and pretty much all the rest of them strike out over 20%. Sorry, there's 4 bats in there that strike out over 30% with Brandon Dixon. This is a great spot for Snell. I think he's going to go under owned with so many other great pitching options on the slate, and that's why I think, in my opinion, has higher strikeout upside than Strasburg does against the White Sox. I mean, when Snell's getting that many swinging strikes, he got a little bit unlucky in that last start against Toronto. He did give up that 1 home run, but outside the home run, those 5 hits were really just dink and dunking, kind of getting through holes in the infield. Nothing really to be too concerned about, and I really think that I think that this is a phenomenal upside spot for Snell, where he can get one of these 12 strikeout games. I totally think that that's in the cards for him tonight. And again, both these pitchers that are up here in this price, that they have a chance to go over well over 100 pitches if they need to. That said, again, I think Syndergaard and Bumgarner and we'll talk about them in the sheet. We'll talk about them in Slack. I think they are both very good options. Bumgarner probably projecting as the chalkiest pitcher, I'd guess, right now against the Mets. It's a good pitcher ballpark. Both those guys are in play. The last guy I want to talk about, just to get a little bit cheaper, is Max Fried, which I don't have his profile pulled up right now. Really, Max Fried isn't too impressive. He has a 3-pitch mix. He throws a fastball, curveball, and slider, I believe, if I remember right. Or no, fastball, curveball, changeup. He came up last year, did well. This year he's look at the xFIPs, 3.67 xFIP to lefties, 3.446 to righties. Hard contact, fly balls, both down under 40%. Hard contact is a little bit high, but nothing too concerning, especially for a pitcher that's only 7.8K. He is getting a 10.6% swinging strike rate. And the Ks are around 1 per 9, a little less than 1 per 9. 1 per inning. A little less than 1 per inning on the season. I did want to mention that what I think really stands out to me about this matchup is that the Pirates have been quite bad versus lefties this year, and Fried, of course, is a lefty. Pirates striking at 24.9%. Don't walk versus lefties, and they have a 73 WRC plus, which I believe is a league worst versus lefties. Sorry, it's 3rd worst versus lefties. And then last, I wanted to mention that they did kind of switch up this lineup today. So let's go ahead and go back to this Baseball Savant page. Let's pull up this Pirates lineup. You got Kevin Newman. They got Kevin Newman leadoff, contact hitter. Not going to strike out a lot, but he's not going to add a lot of power. Brian Reynolds has had a very good season, has hit lefties well. There's no Josh Bell in the lineup. That's the biggest thing really to note here. They decided to take Josh Bell out of the lineup, give him a day off. So Melky Cabrera is going to be hitting cleanup. Not someone that I'm scared of. Not someone that's going to strike out a lot, but not someone that's going to add really any power that is significant, that is interesting, that is worth noting. Starling Marte, he's a good hitter. Bottom of the lineup gets real bad, though. Elias Diaz, not a good hitter. Jose Ozuna, not a good hitter. If we go back, I haven't pulled up his last year's stats, but they're decent. But nothing to be concerned about, and especially not in this ballpark, which I haven't even mentioned yet. He gets Fried's getting an awesome park shift in this game, pitching in Pittsburgh. Not sure what the weather's going to be like there. 77 degrees, wind blowing right to left, so nothing too crazy. I just really like the lineup that they rolled out for Fried at 7.8K. Again, not a guy that's going to get you a ton of strikeouts. You're probably looking at like 5 or 6 strikeouts on a good day. But someone that has a lot of safety, especially in this matchup. Team total's down a little bit to 4-1. Just seems like a safe spot at that price. I think he can get you 15 easily. No problem getting there in this matchup, in my opinion. So those are kind of the 5 pitchers I'm considering. I know I didn't talk about Syndergaard or Bumgarner, but they are going to be a consideration for me. So you've got 5 guys here on a 15-game slate. I mean, there's plenty of other guys you can play in GPPs, and as I said, I think Snell kind of shades toward the GPP side a little bit. And ownership is certainly projecting to be that way, as Snell is a GBP play. But those are the 5 I'll be considering. But like I said, there's more options on this slate that are more GPP-ish. Ryu being one of them. He's been phenomenal this year. But that's kind of a tough spot with David Peralta back and everything. So, all right, let's kind of get into some hitters. And because the pitchers are so expensive, you're going to have probably most likely, unless you're playing Fried and cash, have 2 pitchers over 9K. and you're going to need to save money on bats. And the most obvious and probably the most chalky spot to save money on bats in this game is going to be right here in Kyle Schwarber, 3.9K against Jeff Hoffman. Hoffman is giving up a good bit of hard contact so far in his stint in the majors so far. He hasn't pitched a lot. But Schwarber's at 3.9 price. The Cubs have a 6.4 team total. It's the highest on the slate. I would love to get Schwarber and stack him up with a little bit of a Baez or a Rizzo. Obviously, Carlos Gonzalez down here at 3.3. He's had a terrible year, but 3.3 with the wind blowing out in Coors against Jeff Hoffman, who allows a good bit of hard contact. I have a decent amount of interest in him. They also, Hoffman does rely quite a bit on his curveball. So you've got curveball hitters here in Rizzo, Baez, Contreras. All those guys hit the curveball real well. Makes sense to stack these guys up. I think Bryant at 5.2 is a totally fair price as well. Don't ignore him at all. So, if I rank these guys point per dollar, it'd probably be something like Schwarber, Baez, Bryant, Rizzo, Cargo, Contreras. I think Contreras' price is fine, but I'm not sure I'm going to be spending up a catcher. Like I said, I'm going to be trying to save some money elsewhere. But I do love the Cubs today. Rockies also have had a bottom 10 bullpen over the last month, I believe. So something to note there. Okay, let's kind of move on. Another outfielder actually is who I'm going to mention. I know it's kind of weird. I'm going more player this time. Usually go more by teams just because of the slate. I'm going to go more by player, and I think it's Yasiel Puig here at 3.8K. He does get a negative park shift, but it still is 80 degrees in Busch Stadium, 9-mile-per-hour wind blowing out to left center, so it should help the ball fly out a little bit. Genesis Cabrera really struggled in his first start, and if we just pull up his minor league stats, they were AAA stats from this year. They were quite bad. He's about getting about one strikeout per inning, but he gave up a 6.32 xFIP in AAA. I mean, that's in AAA, and an 18% home run per fly ball. So almost one of every 5 fly balls was a home run. I think Suarez, who adds a ton of power versus lefties, makes a ton of sense at third base at 4.5K. You are going to have the Travis Shaw dilemma. I'm not going to talk much about Travis Shaw in this video, but he is 2.5K on DraftKings. Should be batting 6th or 7th for the Brewers, who obviously Park plays very, very well for left-handed power. Fantasy Labs hasn't predicted to bat 6th, and Moustakas is questionable, so who knows how they flip that lineup up if he's out. But 2.5K against Pablo Lopez in a negative park shift for Lopez. Lopez has had a pretty good year, but Shaw, at that price just makes a lot of sense. Okay, if we're going to other spots on the slate, I did want to mention. I think that Mookie Betts and JD Martinez make a lot of sense, but I mentioned so many outfielders that I didn't want to get into them. Glenn Sparkman does get a lot of ground balls, and it is a pretty safe park for pitchers. Wind's blowing out, and it's going to be humid though. So I do think those prices make sense at the 5K range. And home run calls. Let's go and just jump into those home run calls real quick and get those out of the way. Oh, one other hitter I wanted to mention. He's at the top here. I forgot to mention him. Is going to be Ronald Acuna Jr. I think this price is awesome on him. Dude has so much power versus lefties. I know I mentioned when I was talking about Fried, this is a pitcher's park, and of course, obviously for the Atlanta side, still a pitcher's park. But he goes up against Steven Brault. Let's pull up his numbers just against righties this year. 403 WOBA, 6.63 xFIP, 6.63 xFIP, Jesus. 38 fly ball, 36% hard contact. And even if you go back to last year, I remember from last year, he did struggle versus the right-handed bats quite a bit. 5.07 xFIP, 38% hard contact, 35% fly ball. So we're looking at a pretty good spot for Acuna here, and I love the price on him. It's going to be tough to stack him up with any of these other Braves. Swanson's priced up, Freeman is priced up, Donaldson is cheap. You can go there. And Austin Riley, I'd love to play Austin Riley, even though he's batting 6th every day, but he's 4.9K, kind of hard to get to there. Okay, I think that's pretty much going to do it for the hitters. Home run calls are actually going to be pretty easy for me today. I'm going to go with low price dog, going to be Yasiel Puig, 3.8K. I already talked about him. Genesis Cabrera has given up so many home runs, fly ball, so much hard contact, AAA. Really, really like him today. In terms of, especially if you're looking for, with Puig, you're going to get a lot of ABs that are kind of, no other way to say it, trashy. They're just trash ABs. But in terms of home run call, under 4K, he makes a ton of sense to me. Other home run call, haven't thought a lot about the high price guys, but I do think I want to take someone from this Texas game. I think one-off power against Bundy makes a lot of sense. I guess I'll probably go with Hunter Pence. Bundy is a little bit reverse split. He gives up a little bit more hard contact to righties. Going to be 82 degrees, wind blowing slightly in Texas, but not too concerning for me. If I'm not going to go with Pence, if you want someone a little cheaper, because paying $5.3K for Pence, let's be real, you're not going to be doing it in cash. Probably going to be Wilson Contreras. Like I said, he hits that curveball well. It can also be Contreras or Baez, but I'd say Contreras has a little bit more power. Contreras hits righties well, and Hoffman has been actually a little bit worse versus righties this year so far in the majors. And like I said, hits that curveball real well. Contreras, I believe, is the best curveball hitter on the team, if not second best on the team. So really like him against Jeff Hoffman, and again, the highest team total, wind blowing out in not Coors, wind blowing out in Wrigley. Really like the spot. I like the spot for all the Cubs. Of course, it's the highest team total on the slate. But like I said, I ranked those guys point per dollar for you just a second ago. So that's going to pretty much do it for the home run calls. I guess my official home run calls will be Yasiel Puig and Wilson Contreras. All right. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to comment, subscribe, and of course hit that like button if you enjoyed the video. And give us your home run calls in the comment section below. Hit us with that comment and you'll have a chance to win that free MLB season pass. And remember, $40 a month, locksdfs.com. You can sign up, get our top stacks, get our first look, going through our statistics on the slate, and then of course our lock sheet where we grade every player and rule them as cash or GBP plays on the sheet. And of course, as well, get into our member chat and get to ask us questions as you're building your own lineup. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys back here tomorrow for the Wednesday slate. Peace.